November 18th, 2019. Oko. Everybody has been talking about it. We're getting into the banned and restricted announcement right this second. Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. As Jake highlighted, the November 18th, 2019 banned and restricted announcement is here. We're going to talk about how much everybody hated Oko and how everybody was ready for it to leave. But first, Jake, what do they need to do?
Just go down, click like, click subscribe. It really helps out the channel as we continue to grow.
Absolutely. Let's swap over to the Ian Duke article. As expected, Oko Thief of Crowns is banned. As not expected, Once Upon a Time is banned and Veil of Summer is banned. Let's talk about Standard first. Jake, they took a hard line. They did what everybody said they probably weren't going to do, which was just go ahead and deal with the problem and let's move on.
They're like, look, shut up, crowd. Everybody get off of our backs. We're banning everything. If this is what you want, we're banning it.
One of the other 10 most played decks, so 70% of decks at Mythic Championship Richmond. Ugh. Because if we're Oko Thief of Crowns, if you think back a year, there was an article about Teamer Energy wherein they said when a deck hits 30% of a meta, it starts to raise red flags. I would say that 70% was setting off alarm bells.
Yeah, it had to be a lot of sleepless nights. It had to be like when Khaleesi was on that dragon over King's Landing. It had to be pretty awful. Yeah, I think that this just needed to happen, and a lot of people, I've seen comments where people are like, but how are they going to sell boxes of Eldraine? Well, look, they've already sold the boxes, and that's up to distributors now.
When
so
also, there's a lot of dope cards, like the Legendary Artifact Cycle, like some of the legendary creatures in there that will finally see some play, and people are going to need copies of those cards. Look at this. This was a very surprising sentence in here. Only one of the other 10 most played decks, Simic Flash, had a favorable matchup at Simic-based food decks, and only just above 50%.
Yeah, and it really does say a lot about the power level of green and how imbalanced it was that not only did Oko get hit, which needed to get hit, but Once Upon a Time as well. And then not only Once Upon a Time, but Veil of Summer. This is just so much, and it really is just like, whoops. It's like, whoops. What did we do?
Yeah, it really is. What this means, honestly, this and this one lower the power level of the Oko decks, and this lowers the power of green as a whole in the meta. This card, what this does is raise the power level of blue decks and black decks. So you're going to see two things happen from this. These being gone are going to allow aggro decks. Let's say Oko being gone is going to allow aggro decks back into the format. Veil of Summer being gone is going to allow control decks back into the format. And suddenly, we may be positioned for a healthy meta.
Well, you know, and Once Upon a Time, it kind of, in a weird way, it reminds me of Phyrexian Mana, because you're getting a spell for free. Like, this is just, if it's in your hand, you can cast it without playing its mana cost, paying its mana cost. And so it's just kind of like the Gitaxian Probe problem, where it's like, yeah, sure, I'll pay 2 life for perfect information and I'll draw a card.
Absolutely.
It's like, yeah, so it's a really strong card. All of these are very strong cards. They probably could have thrived in their own meta without any of the other ones being present, but in this situation, they all had to go.
That's most of what we have to say for the standard bannings. I would say that the only other side note I have is that they made these bannings live in Arena today. Less than like an hour after this announcement came out, these bannings were live in Arena. My main complaint after the last BNR was that they waited until the Thursday following it to make those changes. What the hell? It's a digital platform.
Yeah, no, I think that, you know, I'm sure people got wild cards for everything that was
right, absolutely. I woke up this morning, I had 4 mythics, 4 rares, a bunch of uncommons, but they've always done that. The thing is that they went live immediately, which I appreciate. That is, I really think, is them listening and making the changes as they need to happen. It's a digital platform.
Yep.
Making
and
it legal.
That's all great. It's all wonderful. I think that these are proper bans. It's going to make the format a little bit more healthy or honestly a lot more healthy. And
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see what kind of decks pop up because finally people can brew. I have a little bit of a rekindled reason to go back to Arena and maybe check out Standard because
I played
was
Standard
just,
on
like,
Arena today.
Just like, I was like, bro, I'm just not gonna play. There's no real reason for me to play it. It's not interesting to me.
Yeah. I played some Standard today. It was nice to have my aggro decks do something, at least to have a good showing, because there was no Oko to stop them. We have four others. Sure. Stay with us. We've got 4 other real quick bannings to talk about. Brawl banning. Oko also banned in Brawl. This is something that they had already done on Arena, and now they have made paper match. Jake, anything to say about that one?
Just like, what's worse than maybe playing against Oko? 100% chance of playing against Oko.
Right, absolutely. Legacy, Renin 6 is banned. This is a card that was reacting very unfavorably with lands that were tearing apart the format. I don't play a lot of Legacy, but I saw a lot of Legacy players very excited about Renin 6 being banned.
It's the Wasteland interaction. The fact that you could play Wasteland, destroy land, and then replay Wasteland from your graveyard. The whole point of Wasteland and Legacy is that once you use it, you're trading a land 1 for 1.
Right.
Renin 6 is letting you get the land back, and it really led to, I believe, Teamer Delver having just a significant win percentage over other decks. And so when you have an interaction like that, I mean, honestly, it's just such a good Planeswalker for 2 mana. But I don't think this is going to destroy the value of Renin 6. It's fair in Modern, and so I think the card, because Wasteland isn't present in Modern, I think the card is a fair card, and hopefully Legacy is going to see a healthier meta.
Yeah, we'll see. Legacy's also kind of starting to lose support because of Pioneer, but that's a whole different video. Vintage, Narset Parter of Veils is restricted.
Yeah, dude, Narset's just way too good.
Wild that we saw an uncommon from a 1 set ago Standard set get restricted in Vintage. That's just wild to me. Say that sentence to me a year ago and I'm like, nah, I don't think so.
Oh, dude, man, yeah, it's just such a brutal card, and in Vintage you have so many non-creature spells that it's just like it's always gonna dig and give you that velocity. Right. And if it says anything about the future of Narset foils, I would just say, I mean, they're already like $25, maybe even more. But as we get further and further away from more of the Spark, Narset is going to be one of those cards that every cube is going to want it. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a power player in Modern, even after it rotates out of Standard. It's going to be an absolute house in Pioneer. So it's a card to keep on your radar. Hopefully it's not too powerful for those formats. We'll see.
We will see. Let's change gears just a second and look at the Pioneer BNR from today. No changes.
Yeah, dude, and honestly, it's really easy to just end it there, but I want to say something about what this means for Pioneer format, at least from my opinion.
I'm going to go to the full list of banned cards in Pioneer while you talk about
for sure.
that.
Yeah, and what I think that this means for Pioneer is that, okay, we're giving the format some time to breathe. So I think that we are going to see players have a little bit more confidence in buying into certain decks. Agreed. I think that some of the main problems have been eliminated, and now we're going to have some breathing room. We're gonna maybe get announcements about, hey, this card is kind of on our watch list, but no major changes. We want to see how the format develops. We want people to be interested in Pioneer. We don't want people to be turned off from Pioneer because they think we're going to ban everything. That's not the intention. We just want a healthy meta. It's why we went ahead and banned the fetch lands from the start. We didn't want people having to race to the secondary market and buy fetch lands and have that be the main reason nobody wants to play Pioneer.
Nightmare.
So this is a good thing. It's a big step in the right direction, and I'm really excited to see how the format evolves and if you're playing Pioneer, let us know. What deck are you playing? What are you excited about? What card interactions are you exploring? Like, what deck do you think is performing really well that nobody's talking about?
And check out the Pioneer deck techs that we're dropping on the channel. We've been starting with some of the more tribal and some of the more fun decks, not the tournament decks that we'll eventually get to, but there's a lot of groundwork there for tournament decks when you start looking at some of the good cards. They did say as part of this BNR that because of the online Pioneer Week and series of several scheduled PTQs, they don't anticipate anything to change between now and the Monday, November 25th next one. However, they still reserve the right. So they think that this one is going to last into December.
Well, yeah, and like I said, we're going to see where Pioneer goes moving forward. That's the format that's obviously on our radar the most, or at least my radar.
Absolutely.
And so, stick around for those kind of updates.
Well, I'm back on standard now because Oko's not absolutely destroying any credibility of aggro decks. We really appreciate everybody watching. Like we said, if you wouldn't mind, hit like, hit subscribe. It really helps us out. If you want to support us further, we've got a Patreon link. It's down in the description below. If you want to watch us stream and play some Pioneer and or Standard and or Brawl, really anything, don't forget we are streaming on Twitch twice a week, Tuesday nights for Jake, Thursday nights for me. I'm tapped out. Jake, you got anything else?
I have this tiny Gandalf.
A tiny Gandalf? I've got to start preparing. Oh, look. I've got a baby Kylo. It's a baby Kylo Ren. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.
You shall pass on to the next video.